session to discuss the classification and appointment of public employees. I would like to entertain a motion to move from committee of the whole to the committee meeting tonight and ordinance amending ordinance 2008-128, establishing the position of project manager of the finance department and network and security administrator of public service and job grade 10s and declaring an emergency. Moved and seconded. We all had our discussion there. So all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed say no. That item will appear on tonight's agenda. That will be item number 146. I would also like to entertain a motion to appoint Lisa Paxson as position of project manager for the finance department and the information services department, establishing her compensation for said employee and declaring an emergency. So moved and second. All those, since we had our discussion.
We checked this numbering this right.
Okay.
We're numbering this and moving on.
Yes, moving on.
Second.
Okay. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed say no. And item here tonight is 147. I also have another ordinance. Confirming the classification of Sean Schatz as position of network and security administrator for the information services department, establishing compensation and declaring an emergency. So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. And this will be numbered, so we had our discussion. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed say no. That item will appear as 148 this evening. And the last item coming out of the committee of the whole is ordinance approving the employment contract between the city of Stow and Terry Wilson as project engineer beginning November 4th, 2013 and ending December 31st, 2015, establishing compensation and declaring an emergency. Motion to do that. Moved and second. We've had our discussion. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed say no.
No.
That will appear as 149 this evening. Is there anything else to come before us in the whole? I won't take any comments from the audience because I'll let you have that time this evening at the council. We have a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we need a whole meeting adjourned. Call the council meeting to order. My little cheat sheet. Please call the roll.
Mr. Costello.
Yes.
Mr. D'Antonio.
Yes.
Mr. Lavender.
Yes.
Mr. Provonic.
Yes.
Mr. Razor.
Present.
Mr. Rio.
Present.
Mrs. Bennett. Here.
If you go, please rise for the permanent tonight by Councilman Ryan.
Dear Lord, we seek your help with our affairs today. Bless this meeting with your divine intelligence and help us make the best use of our own. We are of diverse opinion here, yet we wish to mend our differences and reach agreement satisfactory to all. Please share a little of your wisdom with us to help us do the right by all concerned. Thank you for your heavenly blessing. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have 20 minutes, so the council meeting is September 12th.
Move to approve.
Moving second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed say no. Any abstentions? So it means it's approved. Human communications.
I have a proclamation from the mayor extending sincere congratulations to all team members of Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels on their 50th anniversary. Whereas Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels is recognized globally as a leader in the high-performance tires and wheels industry. And whereas Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels is celebrating 50 years of innovative and product excellence in 2013. And whereas Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels has a brilliant history of product development that began in 1963 with the company founders Mickey Thompson and Gene McManus and continues as strong as ever in 2013. And whereas the City of Stow has had the distinct honor of having Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels as a member of the community since 1984. And whereas Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels launched the second wave of industrial development in Stow's history with the construction of their 120,000 square foot building in Stow Commerce Center in 2005. Now therefore I, Sarah Drew, Mayor of the City of Stow, Ohio, do hereby extend sincere congratulations to all team members of Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels on their 50th anniversary and wish them continued success for the future of their outstanding business.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I have had the distinct pleasure to be at Mickey Thompson Tire and meet with Chris, Barbara, and the team on a number of occasions, and it truly is a really exceptional place. The team spirit of that business is evident when you go. They do really interesting things. I never thought I would be as interested or captivated by racing as I was when I was there, and they have a lot of historical items at their offices that are very interesting to see. They have been a great corporate partner in the City of Stow, and 50 years is a long time by anybody's measure, so we certainly offer them our wholehearted congratulations.
Anyone on council want to talk before she makes the presentation? Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor Drew. My name is Chris Barber. I have the very fortunate position of being the General Manager and President of Mickey Thompson Performance Tires and Wheels. I'd like to recognize that we have two of our teammates here this afternoon, or this evening, I guess you could say. Jason Bolton, the Product Manager that is in charge of all of those exciting products that Mayor Drew just noted, and also Amanda Holcomb, who also has a very important distinction of counting the money. She is one of our finance leaders, one of the finance leaders for our organization, so I want to make sure they are recognized as well. Council, Mayor Drew, again, I just would want to say thank you. We're very proud of this accomplishment in the automotive performance aftermarket industry. It's very difficult for companies to make it 10 years or even 5 years. So it's very, very significant to be able to have a 50-year anniversary. We're very proud of that, and we're even more proud to say that we have called Stow home for over 25 years. And we're going to be expanding upon our footprint and our business literally and figuratively, but it will include keeping home in Stow, Ohio. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we got another piece of communication here, and it's from Alice Songhalter. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mayor Drew, and council members. We appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight. I'm from the County of Summit Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board. It's also called the ADM Board. You might know us by that name. I want to take a few minutes tonight to talk with you about who we are, what we do, and how we make a difference in people's lives. Starting with that point, I want to relate briefly a story of a young man by the name of Jared, who started drinking when he was in middle school, and by the time he was in high school, he had progressed on harder drugs. Needless to say, you know what those consequences of that type of behavior could be. For him, it meant DUIs. For him, it meant loss of relationships, problems in school, progressing downward spiral until he woke up one morning after a failed overdose and found his own suicide note that he had written. He decided he wanted to live, and he decided that he needed help. And he sought that help at the ADM Crisis Center, where he was detoxed and then went on to further treatment at several of our agencies, including Interval Brotherhood Home. So Jared's story is one story that helps to illustrate how we do make a difference in people's lives. Instead of being dependent on others, he talks about after his recovery process, after being sober for 3.5 years, he's now working full-time and he's also able to give back to others. And he describes the feeling that he gets in helping others stay sober as giving him a high and a feeling that no drug or needle ever gave him. So I'm very proud to wear this bracelet, that says Recovery Starts Here, and it has our website on it. Jared's 3-minute, 4-minute video is on there in addition to a dozen other people that have been helped by ADM services. If you have 3 minutes and are online, I would encourage you to go and listen to some of their stories. They tell it much better than I can. Many of you may not know that ADM boards are established by Ohio Revised Code. They establish the need for every community to have an entity that will assess needs and plan for services for people who have mental illnesses or alcohol or other addictions. So we do that in our community. We do that collaboratively by working with other entities. We don't provide direct services at the board, but we do provide 4 services in Summit County through our contracts with 26 agencies. Just to name a few: Oriana House, Child Guidance, IBH Recovery Center, help me out, Community Health Center. Yes, quite a few. You know who they are. Some of the major organizations in our community. Each year, about 50,000 people are helped by our services, or have an impact on about 50,000 people. The priority for our services are for those individuals who are most in need, and we define that by the severity of their illness, of their addiction, or their mental health issues, or also by the fact that they don't have any other options. Many people are employed part-time or employed at organizations that don't provide health care coverage. So we also see very ill people, but we also see people who are working who don't have health care coverage. Our services span across the lifespan, beginning with 3-year-olds. How many of you know that sometimes 3-year-olds are expelled from preschools? It happens. It happens in our community. There's an innovative program through Child Guidance that goes into preschools and helps to teach the kids, the teachers, and the parents about how to maintain self-control, how to be socially appropriate so that those children are then able to enter school ready to learn. That program, over the course of its inception, has decreased the amount of expulsions by 98%. Very, very effective. Prevention way upstream. The other end of the lifespan, also we provide services to those folks who are in their 80s and 90s and dealing with addiction or mental health issues. So it's really across the lifespan. We provide traditional treatment services and also prevention services, community education, and consultation to schools, businesses, particularly in the area of suicide prevention. The ADM board funds the Suicide Prevention Coalition. Stow High School is very fortunate to have a member of the Child Guidance staff, Sally Dean, on staff, and she helps with the Suicide Prevention Coalition as well. One of the most critical services that I believe we provide is our 24-hour crisis services that's available to any member of our community. The 24-hour hotline, I have to write it down because I don't always get it right, is 434-9144. Anyone can call that anytime to talk about what they're concerned about, either from what they're experiencing, maybe they have a friend or a neighbor or loved one who is struggling that might need some assistance. So every community within Summit County has benefited and connected with the ADM board in some way. So we're here tonight, myself and Andrew DeFreitas, my co-worker, to ask for your support of our upcoming renewal levy. He's passed out some information that gives you some additional information. Because it's a renewal, you all are very familiar, that means it won't increase your taxes. What it will do is maintain our services as they are today, so that we'll be able to continue to provide these really life-saving services in Summit County. We've been very lucky in the face of really big state decreases in funding over the last 6 years to be able to continue to maintain our services due to the strong local support that we've had. So we're here to ask you to support issue 1. We'll be on the ballot November 5th. And we thank you for all the support you've had in the past. And thank you for the time tonight.
Thank you, Mary Alice.
Mr. Costello. If I might say, just the city of Stow is very grateful to the ABM board. One of the most dangerous and commonplace aspects for our safety forces is encountering people who are in crisis, who have mental health issues, who have other cognitive issues, who have substance abuse issues. And we have many officers on our department, including Officer Schultz, who's with us tonight, who have completed the CIT, or Crisis Intervention Training, through the ABM board. And it really provides our first responders with some extra training to intervene in ways that hopefully don't add to any escalating behavior, keep the officers safe, keep the suspects safe, and keep the community safe. So the city receives one very tangible direct benefit from the ABM board, and I want to express my thanks for that service to our first responders.
Anybody else?
I actually want to make a comment, and thank you for me to speak this evening. I am on the board of directors for the Community Health Center, and we work very closely with the ABM board. Appreciate much of the support that the two companies, do with each other. We, in case you don't know, we are one of the groups that ABM helps, do some support for, and it is crucial that people realize that the people who are going to these facilities are not just what a lot of people would consider dregs of society. They are every walk of life, and every socioeconomic, every age group you will find in need, and unfortunately it is increasing. So every single ounce of support is so important, and not only does it affect us economically, but it also, as Mayor Drew pointed out, it affects our safety and security. So definitely very worthy organizations to support. So thank you.
Anybody else? See none, we'll go into committee reports. I will talk about committee of the whole that met this evening. We have 4 items that came out of committee of the whole in the whole legislative format. Any questions? See none. Mr. Rio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance met earlier this evening. We have 2 legislative items before us. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Rio? Ms. Bednar.
Yes, planning committee did meet this evening. We discussed 2 items, both were in legislative form this evening, and I will answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Bednar? Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am ready to answer this question this week. We held a Road Safety Committee meeting this Monday in these chambers. We have 1 legislative item, and I'll be happy to answer this question.
Any questions for Mr. Ray? Mr. Fox.
Public improvements did not meet this week, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Probonic? Okay, now comes the time of the meeting where we ask for comments from the audience. Should you wish to make any comments, please raise your hand and be recognized by the person in council. You'll be asked to provide your name and address for the benefit of our clerk, because your comments will become part of the permanent records of this council meeting. You'll be allowed 3 minutes to make your comments. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address council at this time? Mr. Caruso.
You don't need to be sworn in, but I do need your name and address.
Enrico Caruso, 3666 Darrell Road, in Stow. My comments are related to the initiative to embrace Six Sigma within the community. I'm deeply into Six Sigma. I was the launch manager for Ford Motor Company for Cleveland, for the engine plants 1 and 2, and also their operations in joint venture in Nanjing, China, with their joint venture. The embracement of Six Sigma is an enormous undertaking. It takes a great commitment in terms of the personnel, the training, the hours and hours of people that are off the job training. Well, they're on the job while they're training. But there's a good payback for it. In all branches of the, any kind of endeavor you do, whether it be in the case of quality, which is something sought after by the automotive companies, and I'm sure Mickey Thompson people probably understand it quite well, you know. You're looking for 2 defects in a billion. That's pretty tight stuff. Well, you can apply it to accounting, you can apply it to personnel, you can apply it to any endeavor in your business, but it takes a lot of effort and want to put forward. The idea that you predetermine little projects to go after is totally wrong. What you do is, these little projects aren't little. You look for the ones that have the significant major paybacks to go after. And those are the ones that are best to take your time and effort to undertake, because that's where you're going to make significant improvement. I know there's a rush to say, oh, look, we did this, we did that, and they're quick, and I call them down and dirty, but they're not. And you have to scope out projects. You have to spend a lot of time scoping out the projects that you want to take after you train the black belts and the green belts, as Brian says he has a green belt. But if you need any help, let me know. I got a whole library full of 6 of them, you know, going all the way back to the Motorola and Jack Welch over there. You know. So it's a good thing to undertake, though. I look forward to seeing improvements in the way the city proceeds in the future to do business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Booth.
Anyone else wishes to address council? Yes, ma'am.
Carol Timchenko, 1970 Thorndale, Stow. Hi, everybody. I'm tired of hearing this, aren't you?
We're never tired of hearing from
Yeah. Just a couple of things. Thorndale is a quiet neighborhood with a lot of children that play there. We have century-old homes and trees, and it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city of Stow, and we really believe it's part of Stow's history and it's worth preserving. It was brought to our attention at the Plan Commission that GM has many different building models, and that the one's been proposed is only one of many. Please, we beg you guys to insist on a Plan B and help us. Can we look into the viability of the 6 commercial properties that are available in Stow that were mentioned at the last meeting before you make your decision? If rezoning is approved, what happens when another expansion is needed, as we're going into it with inadequate parking space already? We're 25 spots shy. So what's to stop the plowing down of the entire side of our street? We fear that the city approves the rezoning, you know, this could happen. And there are currently 13 homes on Thorndale. Marhofer recently occupies the space of approximately 2 or 3 residential lots. If the 3 additional lots are rezoned to commercial, that's 5 or 6 residential lots. That would leave 10 homes intact on our neighborhood. That'd be 50% or more of the neighborhood would be commercial. This would be devastating for the residents and would affect their values tremendously, not to mention the quality of life we've come to know and love. It would no longer be the dealership at the end of the street that we can barely see. It would be the dealership that comprises half or more of our neighborhood. Please help us. The future of our neighborhood is in your hands. Try to put yourselves in our situation and do what you would hope your city would do to help protect you, your family, the value of your home, and your quality of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address council? Yes, sir.
Mark Brown, 1961 Thorndale Avenue. Been over a year ago when we began proposing this proposal and this project, and it was based on the simple premise that it kind of goes against one of the primary purposes of zoning codes to be in the first place, which is to separate entities, residential, commercial, etc. Additionally, the plan as proposed does not go along with the Stow comprehensive plan. The zoning changes to this project will alter our neighborhood. It will significantly reduce the buffer and the barriers that presently exist that make it such a beautiful place. This opposition has never been about one property, our property, but it's been about all of our properties. My wife Mary and I, Bud, Tierney, Jonah, and Rulo, we had the privilege of living there and raising our children in this wonderful tree-filled neighborhood. And we would like that to continue. But more than that, we would hope that that would also remain intact so that people like Doug and Alan, John and Tanika, Carol and Dave, Chad and Abby and their families, and other families that might choose to live in this very nice neighborhood with very affordable homes, that they would have those opportunities as well. I would urge you to seek other options as they appear to be there, rather than rezoning these properties on Thorndale. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Allison Burley, 1969, Thorndale. We bought our house in 2012 in a neighborhood. We didn't buy our house 2 doors down from a car dealership. We did not buy our house next to a dealership. We bought our house in a neighborhood that had a dealership at the end of the street. 5 houses separate my house from the dealership currently. Not once has Mr. Marhofer said that he will move or leave if he does not get this rezoned. It has only been alluded to by others. Mr. Razor, you stated in your blog that the parcel would potentially become an eyesore if vacant. One thing that was failed to be mentioned was that the car dealership has been there for decades. There's a pizza shop, a glass company. Clearly, that real estate is something that people are willing to use and stay in business. The comprehensive plan states, future development should occur in locations in an existing manner that minimize adverse impacts on existing residential areas. This rezoning will destroy our residential area. The plan also states, development should avoid incompatible land use relationships and minimize an increase in traffic on local as well as major residential areas. Rob Kurtz has stated on the record he doesn't have any evidence of how closing Yukon would cause more traffic, and that's the problem. There's no evidence. Because no traffic studies have been completed, nothing is being done to support the closing of Yukon. Site M, where Mr. Marhofer's business is located, is specifically addressed in the comprehensive plan. And nowhere in the plan does it suggest that Site M should be enlarged. Let's be reminded what you're being asked to do here. You're being asked to rezone 3 residential properties to make a parking lot. A parking lot in a plan that would reduce parking for Mr. Marhofer's business by at least 25 spaces. What will happen when my neighbors, the Rylands, move, potentially one day? Will the parking lot be next to me then? My family would be stuck next to a dealership, and we did not buy our house next to a dealership. It was in the neighborhood. Do what we elected you to do, and do not allow the demolition of the neighborhood for asphalt.
Anyone else wish to address council? Yes, sir.
My name is Mike Kosmak, I live at 3545 Williamson Road. If I could, I'd like to hand these out to Mr. Blauermilk, if you were here long. What that is what Cheryl was referring to. I got this from the GM building website, and what this is 8 different size building plans for 8 different size lots. So, as Mr. Gordon said in the beginning, it is the size building. We're looking at a GM mandate or something that Mr. Marhofer would like to have. And again, he's a businessman, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that, like I said in Monday's meeting, while things are in the paper, now is the time to look at the plans and come up with a solution that favors Mr. Marhofer and saves the neighborhood. I'm driving home from work today, and I go by your dealership every day on the way home. And I'm a visual guy, and I'm in a visual business, and I picture the renderings I see of your building there, and then I see the lube stop right in front of it. Now, I think from doing preliminary layouts with this and working with spaces, I think the city should help Mr. Marhofer. He's said in past meetings, he's had difficulty with that building, which is empty, which has been empty over the last 4 to 5 years, because I pass it every day. And I believe his architect said in one of the first meetings that he picks up 15 spaces if that building isn't there. So now instead of trying to pick up spaces in people's backyards, we pick up 15 spaces. And I think if we adjust the layout somewhat, we can pick up the remaining cars. But again, I think this is something to look at while these plans are on paper, not while this is signed, not while people have less rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address council? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Joanne Gross. I live at 4651 Grafford, Graford Lane in Sherwood Acres. The issue about automatic external defibrillators, AEDs, is of great concern to me. I am very much in favor of assistance for the implementation of AEDs in middle and high schools, churches, and businesses. As an RN and advanced practice nurse anesthetist, by many years I participated in administering CPR. I have also maintained my advanced cardiac pulmonary resuscitation qualifications. AEDs are used for cardiac, heart arrhythmias, essentially ventricular fibrillation. VFib is a heart fluttering, inadequately providing oxygenation to the victim's body, mainly the heart and brain. Inadequate brain oxygenation results in irreversible brain damage. CPR is effective for cardiac arrest. CPR is not as effective treatment for cardiac arrhythmias, and AED is the mechanism for treatment of VFib. I became aware of a young college student practicing basketball when he collapsed. The assistant coach instituted CPR, called for the AED, and before outside intervention arrived, the AED was utilized, saving this young man's life. He was transported to a large medical facility where an automatic internal cardiac defibrillator was implanted. He is alive and functional. People can have sudden onset of cardiac arrhythmias. The AED is specific, easy to use, with audio directions, and anyone can save a life. I support Mr. Razor's intent to make our community safer and healthier. One life, your life, is all it takes to see the value of an AED.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address council? Yes, sir.
My name is David Barnwell. I live at 1970 Thorndale Avenue. I have a couple of questions, and I don't know if this is the right forum or if I should have done it last, before, but a couple of questions regarding, say, you close Thorndale or Yukon. Is there studies that are supposed to be done before that can happen? I mean, or is that something council can just decide on?
Mayor, I think we want to turn that over to engineering.
Yeah, Mr. McCleary, could you elaborate briefly on the process for vacating the public street?
Well, the study would have to be done before it could be closed, and then vacation would come back through council.
Okay, so there hasn't been any studies. So, and then you're directing traffic onto a state route, if that is to be closed. So there will be more traffic on Route 91, which is ODOT's issue.
The maintenance on State Route 91 is the city of Stow. The roadway is state highway.
Okay, so if there's studies done, if they close Yukon, and this is just a hypothetical because I don't know and I don't think you guys do, if there's more traffic and there's some kind of study done saying, I mean, I see that there's hundreds of cars that go down Yukon every day. So if you're going to put that traffic onto 91, are they going to say that we need a turn lane and then in turn take more of Marhoffer's property, which pushes him back farther? And at some point, before this is all said and done, he said, I'm going to lose 50 spaces now. I mean, these are questions that I don't think anybody's, really looked into. Right now, you're going to, if the chance to rezone 3 residential lots, what if it's going to need to be more? What if he needs, I know that the people on the end on the corner of Yukon and Thorndale, he's in discussion with one person who was willing to sell. There's still discussions going on with the other 2. Is that enough for him? Is it going to be too late when he's already rezoned? If you've rezoned 3 residential up here, then he's saying, well, I can get this other property. That's more property. Could that have been enough? I mean, it's like we're rushing into, shouldn't the studies be done, to close Yukon before you decide to go ahead and rezone our neighborhood? I mean, it seems like you're not putting everything into perspective and looking at everything beforehand.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address council at this time? Yes, sir.
Well, I'm just going to make a brief repeat of what I said 2 days ago here. I think that this is quite an imposition upon the landowners of Thorndale Avenue and the adjacent area, because if you stop and look at it carefully, there's not much question that property values are going to decrease, and that it'll cause a gradual creep and decrease in the quality of the people that buy the homes around there. And the other thing that's confusing to me is that what he mentioned about the Yukon Street, including Yukon Street. It seems like it's a constant right turn for Route 5 out there when you watch it and put that extra traffic for the right turns up at 91. But then, anyway, I certainly think it's an imposition. And I think that the council should consider very carefully considering rezoning that so that we can go to this elaborate automotive agency increase. And I do believe that it's rather obvious that it will cause decrease in values and decrease in neighborhood quality. And there should be serious considerations for the city of Stow. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to address council? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Abby Whaley, and I live at 1975 Thorndale. I really don't have anything else to say because it would just be re-saying what's already been said, but I just want it to be, I just want it to be noted that I am adamantly also against this, and I agree with everything that's been said by my neighbors. And I just urge you guys to take all that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Ronald.
Do my address again?
I've got it, go ahead.
Okay. I'd just like to address a couple of the comments that were made. The first would be that Ms. Timoshenko had indicated that she had a number of viable properties. She hasn't presented those to me, but when I listened to them the other night, most of them were, I believe, to the north and west of our current location. Those are not available to our dealership because of a state franchise law that prohibits us from moving closer to another dealership of the same make. We have Spitzer Chevrolet in Northfield, which is within 10 miles. So I can't move my dealership north because I'll infringe on their territory. I can't move my dealership to the west because of the dealerships in Akron are within that boundary. This is a franchise law that was established in 1979 that limits the movement of dealerships. The only direction that I can go is east, and I explored properties to the east and found that they were not a viable option. I also explored every option that I'm aware of properties in a reasonable proximity of our current location. I don't desire to go to this area just to aggravate the neighborhood. It's a necessity to continue the business in a viable position. Also, there's a gentleman here that talked about the planning numbers that you saw there on facilities. I have a market responsibility. That means I have a market area that I'm responsible to penetrate at a level that's equivalent to the state average to be effective. That establishes the size of that dealership. The size of dealership that I'm required to have by General Motors is a medium-large facility, which the gentleman had the other night on the screen. That's what I proposed, less 4,000 feet. I tried to cut 4,000 feet out from the initial plan in this facility. Those 4,000 feet are not critical to the operation, but do give us more land mass. That gentleman also took and moved the dealership around, made it closer to 91. All that does is shift the building. It doesn't change the land mass that's available for parking. I think the other thing that I'd like to address is Yukon. I think the main thing I would address there is that we have an intersection there with a road going north and south and one going east and west. And that traffic that goes north and goes south is the same traffic. The people that are shortcutting the light now, I question that it's several hundred a day. But it is a very, very dangerous situation that has to be addressed. Originally, that road was the main Route 59, Route 91. There was a ravine that was filled in years ago that allowed the road to be straightened out. But there used to be multiple businesses on that road too. We're the major business on both sides of that road, and probably from a safety standpoint, in my opinion, should have closed years ago, regardless of whether this project goes forward or not. That's about all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Yes, my name is Mike Gordon. Represent the Burleys at 1969 Thorndale. My offices are at 106 South Main Street in Akron. We just want to note that you're being asked to forward an initiative which, by Mr. Bonhoeffer's own admission this evening, is premature. He was asked earlier tonight, is 3364 available for purchase? And he said, it can be purchased. That's a commercial lot, which your comprehensive plan says commercial businesses should buy. Or the preference is for them to expand into existing commercial space and not to expand into residential communities. I would also note for the record that my objection voiced at the planning committee meeting, I would like to be recorded here. That this initiative is not ready to move forward, that your own planning commission a year ago has said, develop an alternative plan B. And tonight we have evidence that a plan B may be possible, even if it only results in the purchase of one commercial lot and the salvation of one residential lot. That is enough to vote here tonight, not to forward this to full council until this option is fully explored.
Sir, it's already been forwarded to full council. So council will be voting on it this evening.
Well, I would object to the first reading as inappropriate at this time because of the fact that we know that alternatives have not been explored. At least this alternative has not been explored. And the residents of Thorndale, including my clients, deserve a full exploration of all the alternatives before a decision is made to forward or first read an initiative that rezones 3 lots, not knowing that all 3 lots are needed. And again, we are still not provided any information concerning any GM requirement to store any specific numbers of cars on this property. We've talked about building size.
Do we have any figure, definitive figure, documented that says so many cars need to be on that lot? And why is that important? Because the only reason for taking over these residential properties is for car storage, a parking lot. To quote Jody Mitchell, you take paradise, you put up a parking lot. That's not what your comprehensive plan says. That's not what you should be doing at this point, and I ask that you not first read this legislation this evening, and that you give Mr. Malhofer and this neighborhood an opportunity to convene again, as they did before, and engage in meaningful dialogue as to how we can reach a compromise solution to this. Thank you.
Anyone else? One time with Mr. Earl. I appreciate it. All right, anybody else? Mayor?
Right? Sorry. Few things in the mayor's report tonight. First, as all of you in this room are aware, and certainly everyone on council, the Stow Youth Services Department has touched the lives of many Stow families through the years. And tomorrow is the last day for one of our longtime employees, Sue Spinelli, before she retires. So I would urge any of you who have the opportunity to email Sue or give her a call and wish her well as she heads off into retirement. She has been a great asset to the department and a great asset to many families in this city, and she will be greatly missed. Also, I put out some flyers on the table as people came in, but if you didn't get one, they look like this. And it's to make people aware that on Tuesday, October 15th, the Stow Police Department is hosting an open house, you'll see that we will have many of our programs, vehicles, the canines, different specialized services offered within the department represented that night. It also is the night of the Neighborhood Watch meeting, so if someone is not familiar with the Neighborhood Watch program or would like to learn more, that meeting will start at 7. But we will be doing tours of places like the jail, the shooting range, and dispatch. So we encourage families of all ages to come meet our officers, see the equipment, and have the opportunity to tour areas of the police department that the public generally does not get to see. And again, that is Tuesday, October 15th at 6 o'clock. And as an added bonus, we will be having cookies and donuts and cider available. So there's some goodies to eat while you're doing that. And last but not least, there are any number of elected officials and city employees who will be racing in various capacities this Saturday in the Akron Marathon. I'm very proud of all the efforts of all our employees who have trained very hard for several months, and I want to wish all of them the best of luck on Saturday morning in Akron. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from there? Make the simulator available for the open house.
I will put that request in with the chief, certainly. That's a good suggestion, Mr. Costello.
Great.
I'd like to wish the mayor best of luck on Saturday. She has pulled the short straw in the relay team. She will be running up the hilly part of the relay. Best of luck.
Mr. Barrett. Thank you, Ms. Costello. I have no report tonight. If there are any questions, I'll take any questions for Mr. Barrett? Mr. Earl, since Mr. Barrett said nothing, I'm assuming you have nothing else. I agree with him. No, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Mr. Reale.
Thank you, Mr. Costello. For the record, I will not be running the marathon. I will not be running here. Other than that, I have no report. Just kind of your questions.
Any questions for Mr. Reale? Mr. Wren.
Thank you, Mr. Costello. Our curb replacement program began the week after Labor Day this year and was completed this past Tuesday. There's some punch list items that still remain, but the bulk of the program is complete. Curb work was performed on Inglewood, Rose, Kay, Seneca, Wickley, Emeraldwood subdivision, and Renee Estate subdivision. From there, span went directly into the concrete street replacement program this past Tuesday, beginning on Friar, Independence, Hanson, Silver Springs Drive, and Pembroke. This work will continue from the east side of the city to the west. Carbo kicked off the asphalt replacement program this past Monday on Mack and Taggart. From there they moved into Renee Estates. Milling was complete and Renee Estates late yesterday. Mack and McTaggart are getting asphalt repairs today and will get their leveling and top coat tomorrow. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week are slated to complete repairs, leveling the top coat in Renee Estates. The rest of the schedule is weather dependent. Both Spano and Carbo will continue in the city until the work is complete. The tentative schedule puts us out about another 3 to 4 weeks. The final cutoff for this year's program is November 21st. Parents should begin in the next week or so going to work at Stow Cemetery and Soar Playground parking lot. We did repurpose the grindings from Renee Estates as the base for the Soar parking lot, which saved us about $30,000 in aggregate. Although the schedule is tentative, I do have a comprehensive list I can email out to council if any members are interested. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Wren?
The repurposing of the asphalt, was that through the new machine that we purchased or shared?
No, it was through the milling that was done by Carbo out there.
Okay.
We had them dump at our source site and spread from there.
Mr. McCleary?
Thank you, Mr. President. I did not have a report, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. McCleary? Any new business to come before council? Any old business to come before council? Mr. Vermont?
I'd like to also introduce for the second reading, ordinance number 129, or 2013-129, this is an advisory reading.
An ordinance amending chapter 1185 COS entitled Regulations Pertaining to All Districts, particularly section 118502 thereof entitled Temporary Uses, to provide regulations for roll-off dumpsters in residential districts.
It constitutes a second reading.
Yeah, that constitutes a second reading. Senizer, would you introduce ordinance 132 for its second reading?
An ordinance approving and authorizing the Director of Finance to implement future base compensation cost of living adjustments effective beginning on January 1st, 2015 for the city's full-time, non-bargaining employees in all categories, not including the law director, finance director, and the mayor, in the percentage increase amounts equal to the final annual AFSCME bargaining unit settlement percentage increase amounts.
Constitutes its second reading. Mr. Rizzo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would ask that I would like to introduce ordinance 141. Ask the clerk to please read by title.